All right, let's talk about something that a few years ago might have seemed a bit out there, but is now right at the center of corporate security. We're talking about anonymous image boards. Today, we're going to break down why your company absolutely needs a plan for dealing with these wild, unmoderated corners of the web.
So let's just jump right in with a pretty provocative question, shall we? Why would a serious business, maybe even your direct competitor, have its risk analysts spending time on a site like 4chan? I can promise you it is not for the memes.
And the answer is actually pretty simple. These places are ground zero for all sorts of emerging threats. It's a real double-edged sword. On one hand, you've got this incredible raw feed of threat intelligence. We're talking leaked company secrets, brand new software exploits, and even scarily convincing AI deepfakes of CEOs. But on the other hand, it is a minefield just littered with active threats looking for a new target. And that brings us right to the heart of the problem. You kind of have to monitor these sites, but doing it unprotected? That's like walking into a radiation zone without a hazmat suit. The cost of getting exposed is just unbelievably high. Here's the most critical thing to understand. When you visit these sites from your office, you're basically leaving a trail of digital breadcrumbs. And trust me, the people on these boards are actively looking for those breadcrumbs, and they are experts at following that trail right back to your company's front door. So how exactly do they do it? Well, it's not just one trick. It's a whole toolbox. They'll embed tiny, invisible tracking pixels in images that grab your IP address the moment the picture loads. They'll post bait links that look interesting, but are really just IP loggers. And of course, the people running the board itself often keep logs. In every single one of these cases, your IP address is the prize they're after. Okay, so they've got your IP. Now what? Well, the first thing you might see is a retaliatory DDoS attack. That stands for Distributed Denial of Service. Basically, they use the fact that they caught you looking as an excuse to just flood your entire network with garbage traffic, knocking your website, your email, your whole company offline. And from there, it gets even worse. That IP address they logged, it's now a blinking red target for ransomware. It's essentially like handing an attacker a map to your digital front door, letting them get in, lock up your most critical files, and then demand a fortune to get them back. And then there's doxing. This is when they take private information and just plaster it all over the internet for everyone to see. If they figure out your company is monitoring them, they might hit back by leaking sensitive internal documents, personal details about your employees, or even the home addresses of your executives. The damage to your reputation can be massive, and it can last for years. But here's the thing. All of that's just the stuff that can happen to you today. There's a much bigger, more patient threat slowly coming into view, and it's one that could make all of today's standard security measures totally useless tomorrow. Just take a look at how fast the game is changing. Back in 2023, a basic VPN was pretty much all you needed to get past a simple IP ban. Fast forward to 2025, and suddenly we're fighting off AI-generated attacks and massive data leaks. But as we look ahead to 2026 and beyond, the real game changer is quantum computing. And that brings us to a concept that every single person in security needs to tattoo on their brain. Harvest now, decrypt later. Here's how it works. Right now, adversaries are scooping up and hoarding enormous amounts of encrypted data. That includes your team's browsing history. They know they can't break today's encryption yet, but they are patiently waiting, stockpiling it all for the day that quantum computers are powerful enough to just shatter that encryption instantly. So that sounds pretty bad, right? How do you possibly defend against attacks happening right now and attacks that are coming in the future? Well, the answer is to move past the simple consumer tools and get yourself a real digital shield, an enterprise-grade VPN that's actually built for this kind of high-stakes operational security. And let's be crystal clear about this. The VPN you use to watch streaming services from another country is not, I repeat, not the right tool for this job. A consumer VPN usually just has standard encryption and bounces your traffic through one server. That's easy to spot and block. An enterprise OPSEC VPN, on the other hand, is a completely different beast. It's built from the ground up with a much more complex and secure architecture designed to keep you hidden. So if you're putting together a security toolkit that's actually ready for the quantum age, these features are absolutely non-negotiable.
First, you need post-quantum cryptography, so your data is safe from those future decryption attacks. Then you need stealth or obfuscation protocols to sneak past firewalls. Multi-hop routing is next. It adds extra layers of anonymity, making you way harder to trace. You also need a system-level kill switch that cuts your internet in a millisecond if the VPN connection drops, preventing any accidental leaks. And finally, you have to insist on audited zero-log and RAM-only servers. That's your guarantee that even if a server gets physically seized, there's literally no data on it to find. Let's just zoom in on that obfuscation feature for a second because it's so important. A lot of these hostile sites are actively hunting for and blocking anyone using a normal VPN. Obfuscation is your invisibility cloak. It cleverly scrambles your data so it just looks like regular everyday internet traffic. It makes you a ghost to their firewalls, and that lets your analysts get in, do their job, and get out without ever being spotted.
But look, even the best technology in the world is not a magic bullet. The most powerful tool is useless if you don't have the right strategy behind it. And that's where operational security, or OPSEC, comes in as the final and most crucial layer of your defense.
So here are the OPEC seat rules you absolutely have to live by. Rule number 1, you always pair your enterprise VPN with a hardened, privacy-first browser. Rule 2, always disable JavaScript execution to stop malicious scripts in their tracks. Rule 3, never ever download raw image files. They can be packed with trackers or even worse. And maybe the most important rule of all, you have to do this work from a sandboxed environment, a computer or network that is completely walled off from your main corporate systems.
So we're going to end with this thought. Your company's data, your analyst's activity, it is being collected right now, today. Every visit is being logged and stored, waiting for a future attack. So the real question is, will the security measures you put in place today, the tools you choose and the strategy you follow be enough to keep that data locked up tight tomorrow? Or will it become your company's next catastrophic breach? The clock is definitely ticking.